Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ethics of Singerhood, the podcast where we unpack all the truths about singing that nobody warned you about. I'm your host, Rachel Gold, singer, voice coach, and someone who believes that discipline is truly the only way to success. Today's episode is all about discipline, practice, and accountability, the stuff that every singer truly needs, but not everyone knows how to embody. Your dream voice does not happen by accident. It happens because you cultivate it, because you hold a belief system that empowers and propels you. It happens because you kept showing up. This one's for the singers who want progress, who want growth, who want stamina, but are still hoping that inspiration or motivation will magically give them the keys to their success. Spoiler alert, she won't. She never has. Your dreams don't work unless you do. Let's get into it. Discipline equals devotion, not restriction. It's not a punishment. It's choosing to train yourself in a steady and habitual way. Julia Cameron, the author of The Artist's Way, says it best. By its very nature, discipline is rooted in self-admiration. To be disciplined is to have belief in oneself. A lot of people these days are calling it being delulu or delusional. And honestly, I think that's the only way. You have to have a delusional belief in yourself. And discipline falls into that as well. Motivation truly comes and goes. A lot of people think that, oh, when I find the motivation, I'll do it, or if I feel inspired. But the truth is, motivation is fleeting and motivation will always go away. It's never permanent. It's always something that comes and goes based on your emotions, based on the feelings, based on things that are like not sustainable. Devotion, however, is love and loyalty and enthusiasm towards whatever it is you're chasing after. And devotion and discipline, they go hand in hand. All of the people that you idolize, all of the people that you want their career, they're not motivated, they're disciplined. And disciplined might even be too lukewarm of a word. They're obsessed. There's a huge difference between obsession and obligation. And when it comes to practicing, it's hard to get yourself to practice at first. At first, it is. But if you are obsessed with what you're doing, practicing doesn't even really fall into the category of practicing. Yes, technically, you are sitting there running scales, singing this and that over and over again. But if you're obsessed with it and you love it, then it probably isn't going to feel like practice. And practice is usually what you need. And practice is a very broad term for most people. Practice can be a little bit scary to those who are like teetering on the edge. Most people who are on their path, on their track, have cultivated their practice, whatever it is, and it changes over time. It waxes, it wanes. That's normal. But the first thing to get out of the slump or get back on track is to start cultivating your little moments of practice. And the more obsessed you can get with things, the easier this becomes. Most people who are artists in a meaningful way, and by meaningful way, I mostly just mean like it's their whole life. Maybe they make their money off of it. Maybe it's the thing that sustains them. Those people are obsessed and they find joy in the practice. They find joy in the work. And so flipping your mindset from, oh, I have to practice, or, oh, my teacher said do this a million times and I don't have time, or this, that, and the other thing, to, wow, I love singing, so I'm going to do it every day. That changes the game entirely. That's literally how I got here. That's literally how we are on episode 4 of this podcast that I made up one day in my living room. We're still in my living room. I'm still making it up. But the difference being, I have all these deadlines. I have all these things that I need to promote, this thing, that thing, and the other thing. But it's reached a point in my life where it's giving back to me. My obsession with singing and performing really opened all of these doors. And nobody came along and was like, hey, Rachel, here's this, try that. I was seeking things out. I was not perfect at first. And I'm still in the beginning and I'm still not perfect at this. But truthfully, I'm going to find a way. One thing about me is I'm going to find a way. Yeah, I think becoming obsessed with singing, becoming obsessed with music, being moved by all these things, being a musician or a singer is not just the thing. And I think we can all agree that as singers, we're also, business people. We're also marketing people. We're also publicity people. We're also, you know, 18 other things. You know, right now I'm the lighting person, the director, and the writer. That's crazy. This isn't even like my main thing. No one's paying me to do this. And that's fine. I literally made this podcast because I went to the Northwest Voices conference and I had a conversation with a bunch of people who were there about all these issues, about all of these like gripes. And that's literally where this podcast came from. I said, you know what? You know what people need to know? People need to freaking hear like boots on the ground experiences. And I think because my platform is not that big and because I'm not really someone in the world yet, um I'm kind of in that gray area between baby stages of education and like having a dream and wondering what it'd be like, and then whatever is to come, you know, my wildest dreams, Madison Square Garden, all that kind of shit. Um, but I feel like it's a necessary thing, both above and below. I just adjudicated a kids um, voice competition this last weekend, and you can tell who's obsessed and who's afraid. And I mean that with all of the love in my heart. It's okay to be scared. Totally okay to be scared. I'm scared. I'm alone in this room and I'm scared. But the only thing that stands in between you and being the most prepared and giving your best performance is the decision to do it. And I gotta say, the reasons I started this podcast called The Ethics of Singerhood is because there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much misinformation. There's so much um, randomness to it all. And so I don't think that I'm the end all be all of singing, but I think if one thing I say on this podcast resonates with you, then it was worth a listen. If one thing I say can shift your perception from this is impossible to I can do that, then it was worth it. Because you know what? The world needs more singers. The world needs more artists. And what better way to express yourself than with the song that's in your heart? I know, sentimental. Anyway, we're going to get back on track here with what I'm actually talking about. Um, if you can view practice as an investment into yourself and not something you're forcing yourself to do, then it's going to become easier and you'll be able to let it flow better. And then when you have to perform under fluorescent lights in front of 3 judges or 3 adjudicators or 3 casting directors or a crowd full of people that you don't know, you'll know the ins and outs of whatever it is you're doing and you won't feel scared. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it to tell your story, to say whatever you need to say, to paint your painting, to show your presentation, whatever it is on the other side of fear. I think you owe it to yourself and I think you deserve it. So let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about habits. Let's talk about how to step by step get into this practice, this devotional to yourself, this commitment to the artist inside of you. Let's break it down, shall we? If you want real improvement, then you need to give your voice attention every single day. Every single day. One more time. Every single day. Your 1% every single day, or 10%, or maybe sometimes it's 50%, maybe sometimes it's 100%. It all adds up. And if you're willing to sit through the discomfort of delayed gratification and look in the face the things that you actually need help with and need to work on, I promise you the payoff is going to blow your freaking mind. Okay? If you can commit half an hour, full hour every single day to your voice, you will discover more in that time with yourself and with your instrument than in any voice lesson. And the thing about voice lessons too, it's beautiful to be able to do a voice lesson once a week every week. And I'm guilty of this. I'm totally guilty of this. If I'm not discovering, exploring, trying to get the most juice out of my instrument every single day, then I don't have any more questions. I'm not discovering things. I'm not bringing things to my voice teacher for insight. And there's always more to learn. There's always more to learn. So if you are sitting in your house and you're like, gosh, I really want to be a great singer. I have all these things that I need to work on. Some days I sing like freaking Celine Dion, and other days I sing like, a trash can. You can't have consistency without consistent practice. And I know nobody wants to hear that. We're all busy, we all have lives, but the difference between good and great is you being prepared, or even just knowing what it is about your voice, your instrument, your practice that is like, this is feeling weird, this is feeling uncomfortable. And I can't stress that enough. You can tell, it shows. The people who come in who are like, I've been practicing this all week, I have questions about this, I want answers about this, I'm curious about this, I'm experiencing this feeling. You have to become an expert on your voice, not the voice, not voices in general, but your voice. You have to become the expert of your own sound, of your own feelings, because you need to be able to communicate that. You need to be able to understand, okay, when I'm working on these high notes, I get all this tension. So, okay, that's information. We have all this tension. And then we can address, what do we need to release the tension? Is it SOVTs? Is it checking in with our breathing? Is it checking in with our resonance? Is it fixing vowels? There's so many things, but if you don't know, or it's different every day, then you need to become a scientist. I'm sorry. You have to become a scientist. You have to do a study. You have to understand what comes from what and where, and in your voice. In your voice. That's how you get the most out of lessons. That's how you get the most out of your practice. Consistency, discovery, exploration, consistently, every single day. The greats aren't great because they took a break. Now, we can talk about rest and relaxation on the same side, or on the same coin, the other side of the coin, as practice, and discipline and training. That's a big deal. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about training. We're talking about discipline. Anyway, like I said, when you know what your voice needs, then you can target those things and it shows up in your performance. If you are dealing with strain, you probably need some adjustments with your breathing. If you're having a hard time going from your chest voice into your head voice and smoothing through that break, you probably need some adjustments in your vocal exercises. But what you don't need is to one day feel incredible singing in the shower and the next day be pushing and pulling and skrelting and belting in your living room because it sounded good yesterday, it sounded good the day before that, but now it doesn't sound good today and I don't know how to fix it, I don't know what to do. That's because you're practicing randomly. Random practice equals random results. I promise. I promise. If you can commit to spending an hour a day on your voice and then maybe take a break on Sunday, I don't care. Pick your day, pick your rest day. If you can commit to spending 30 minutes to an hour on your voice every single day, you will start clocking tiny wins. And the tiny wins are so important because they provide your brain with evidence that it is possible to break the patterns, to grow from strain and grip into free and easy notes. It gives your brain the evidence that this is for you. And let me tell you, that snowball builds so quickly. It grows exponentially. It's like investing in the stock market of your body. If you put in $5 every single day for even 2 months, I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but the numbers are adding up, if you know what I'm saying. Last but not least, if you find yourself saying, oh, I don't want to practice, I don't want to work on it every day because I don't want my art to feel like a job, congratulations, you are the mayor of Excuse Town. You're the president of problematic excuses and you're standing in your own way. Look, I love you. I do. And you know what? I think it's worth it to say the hard thing out loud to wake you up. I'm not your guru. I'm not someone who's like, oh, if you listen to me talk about this on my podcast, you're going to change your life. But I'm sorry, like, tell me you're not scrolling TikTok all day and one inspirational thing comes up and you're like, wow, that really changed the way I thought about things. Great. Awesome that your TikTok for you page is like that. That's what mine is like. And so I feel like if I'm sitting here saying, yeah, if you take it easy and, you You only practice when you feel motivated, when you feel inspired to. You know what? Beautiful. Do your thing. This isn't that. This is the road to success. This is the road to the next thing. This is pushing yourself to your limits to find out where they are and then push past them. This is expansion. This is trying to say, hey, I have the same 24 hours in a day that Sabrina Carpenter does. I have the same 24 hours in a day that, I don't know, I can't think of any, that Tate McRae does, you know? Obviously, all of these people come from different levels of privilege, but you know what? The human mind and spirit is untapped. I'm sorry. It's untapped. And if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have this delusional self belief that everything can work out and you don't want it badly enough, it's hard to make something happen that way. It really is. And all your excuses do is let your fear know that it's in charge, that it's in control. And it's okay to be scared, but to let fear take the wheel and say, I'm driving, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like someone like you who's watching this podcast doesn't really want to exist in that realm. And you know what? If you're afraid, do it anyway. If you are not feeling it, do it anyway. Have some discipline, invest in yourself. When you see the results, the little tiny ones along the way of your little commitment every day, that's going to boost your self esteem. That's going to boost your confidence. That's going to signal to your brain that, hey, I can do anything that I prepare for. And that's huge. Which leads us to our next point. And I'm so sorry if this sounds preachy, but I gotta say, I've seen a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks that is like, man, if you just believed in yourself, man, you could just really do it. And I gotta say, like, I teach mostly kids right now, and I feel like most of the conversations that we have are surrounding self-worth more so than the technicalities of singing, mostly because some kids are too young, they can't understand all of everything all the time, but what they can understand is you can do it and you are worth it. And something that I repeat in my practice room almost every day is, it's okay to take up space, it's okay to fail, it's okay to be strong and wrong, but you know what, the I can't or the I'm scared, they can't be the one in the room right now. Like, they can be here, they can be on the side, but they, between you and me, like, it's okay. We can fail, we can succeed, but in this practice room, I just need you to be brave. I just need you to fully embody, I am not afraid. I was born for this, because it costs nothing, hurts nobody. It just gives you the positive feedback. And then, like, you've probably seen this. I know Tony Robbins always uses this example of, I think it's an Olympic gymnast who's doing some Olympic gymnastics event and, like, breaks her foot or her leg or something, but she summons this inhuman strength to finish out whatever it is and then scores this incredible score. I'm doing a terrible job of telling this story, but we've all seen moments of, like, incredible human strength. And the more you practice that day by day, the bravery, the commitment, again, back to the brain. The brain is like, oh my God, I can do anything. And singing is exactly like that. Singing is the athletic sport of instruments, because you're using your body in this crazy way. Um, and so sometimes all it takes is just a belief, just a crazy, what is it called? Radical acceptance or suspension of your disbelief. It'll change the way that you think about singing. It'll change the way that you approach things. Anyway, I always ask students when I first start working with somebody, I ask them, how do you want to feel while you're singing? And most of them, their first answer is confident. I want to feel confident, or I want to feel cool. I want to feel fun. I want to feel awesome. I want to feel secure. I want to feel powerful. I want to feel prepared. All of these adjectives that are great. And I always feel like this is such a great exercise because we can come back to it. We can come back to, okay, you said to me, I want to feel confident when I sing. Let me tell you something. Your feelings do not control you. You control your feelings. I know. I know. Believe me. I wish it wasn't controversial to say that. And I'm not trying to be controversial at all. I say this because once we've identified what we want to feel like when we sing, then we've completely swept away what we need to feel like to sing. Because if we need to feel happy or calm or confident in order to get ourselves to sing, then there's no harness on that. There's no real quantifiable, tangible thing with I need to feel prepared to sing or I need to feel confident to sing. If you want to feel confident, put on confidence and then sing. If it's wrong, it doesn't matter, especially in lessons. Like, girl, give me a break. It's all good. But you deciding, you know what? I am going to be confident and fail anyway. I am going to be excited and mess it up anyway. It literally, we can't avoid failure. We can't cushion ourselves from the discomfort and the pain of whatever the failure is. Maybe the failure is I didn't hit the note. Maybe the failure is I didn't get a good score on my adjudication. Maybe the failure is I didn't book the job, or I didn't get the following to come out to the show. Whatever it is, that is part of the process, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. Not a single person started day one, was perfect, got to the end goal of whatever it was and never made a mistake, never had a bad time, never had a learning experience. But one thing that you can control is yourself and your attitude. Yourself and your attitude. Ooh, you can control your attitude. Fake it till you make it almost seems like a lukewarm take when you consider the fact that, like, what if you just believed you were the best? It's okay if you're not the best. But what if you came into every lesson? What if you woke up every day and you said, you know what? I am a singer. So I'm going to sing. I'm going to practice. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself. And then guess what? You're doing all the things a singer would do. So you are a singer. Boom, roasted. Episode over. Gotcha. You're a singer. Sorry. My main point being, we can't wait to feel good to sing. We can't wait to feel happy to sing. We can't wait to feel prepared to sing. We have to sing no matter what. You got to do it every day. You got to show up no matter what. You got to keep showing up for yourself, because your teacher can't do it for you. No one can do it for you. As much as I have tried to do it for people, I can't, because I'm me and you're you. Again, mic drop, boom, surprise. Whatever it is that you need to work on, put the mindset where it needs to be. Say, you know what? I'm a singer and I practice. I am a singer and I study. I'm a singer and I educate myself. And singers, they sing, man. They sing and they sing and they sing, and that's all there is to it. At least, like, for starters. And then you'll find all of the places where your voice needs X, Y, and Z. You'll discover what attention to detail you need, and then you'll be able to locate the right teacher or the right mentor or whatever it is to help you find that next level, because there will always be a next level with your voice. Always. And there's going to be uncomfortable moments, but that's where the growth happens. The uncomfortable things that we have to face in ourselves and our voice and our practice and our artistry are usually the things that simply must be looked at in order to get to whatever the next level is. It's uncomfortable, it's vulnerable, it's your voice, it's your art. But be brave. Be brave enough to do it. Here we are at accountability, folks. Wow, we made it. Here's some accountability that actually works. Like I've mentioned, having a teacher. You need to be able to seek feedback and then take the feedback. Taking feedback is hard, believe me. My ego, it fluctuates, and I have a hard time sometimes. But being humbled over and over again is honestly a blessing. If everyone told you you were amazing and nothing ever you did was wrong, and you went through life with that attitude and that feeling, then I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing. Asking for feedback and then applying it furthers that exploration. Now, discernment, also part of it, but Discernment comes after you've got a pretty good grip on what you're working with. If I'm singing rock music and the feedback I'm getting from whoever is telling me, hey, I think, you would do better with some big, wide open operatic vowels on this and that, blah, blah, blah. At this point, I can kind of say, no, because that's not really the sound I'm going for. Thank you. Um, when you're just learning, when you're beginning, or when you're feeling especially vulnerable about your project, your art, sometimes it's weird to ask for feedback because you're like, well, I'm going for this specific thing. I want this certain thing. And there's so many opinions. There's always going to be so many opinions, man. There's always going to be so many opinions. And it behooves you to at least consider them all. But it doesn't always behoove you to implement all of the feedback. That being said, feedback is so important for so many reasons. There are so many people that watch you and see things that you don't see or hear things that you don't hear. And in this pursuit of becoming better and better and making progress, we need feedback. We need self-taping. We need to understand progress. Like, how people take pictures when they first start working out and then a picture, 2 years down the line or whatever. Same thing. You need snapshots of your voice, and you need to be able to both recognize the work that needs to be done and celebrate when something has changed, when you've worked on something so hard that has become a beautiful shift in your voice, when you've come closer to what the sound is that you're looking for. You need to be able to celebrate and clock that, or else the hard times will become harder. You'll feel like you never make any progress, and that's just like A, not true, and B, really hard to work with. Internal accountability, just as important. If your reasons for why you are pursuing what you are pursuing are crystal clear and high enough stakes, your actions will follow. You will be able to pull on that reasoning, and that will create your discipline. If your reasons are good enough, if your reasons are meaningful enough to you, then discipline won't even be an issue. But that is your internal accountability. Am I going in the right direction? Am I doing what I need to be doing? Am I studying the right things? Well, what's my reason for this? Is my reason to tell my story in a large stadium? And is me, like not practicing every day getting me towards that? No. Maybe that was a bad example, but whatever it is, whatever your reasons are, distill them. Distill the reason and then act according to those values. Simple. Not easy, but simple nonetheless. Now, I know we all have an inner critic, and sometimes you just have to tell it to shut the fuck up. It's not that easy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Self honesty without self bullying. First of all, recognize that you're human. You're not perfect. Fine. Boom. Check. Done. Not perfect. Awesome. Name what you're avoiding. Name it out loud. Talk to yourself. Say, okay, I know I'm avoiding practicing. Boom. Elephant is in the room, has entered the chat. And then be honest with yourself about where you're at. Okay, I'm not practicing because the last time I performed, I really struggled singing all these high notes and I am feeling bad about it. So I don't want to look at it. I don't want to try it. I don't really want to fuck with it. You have enough resources. If you've found this podcast, you have enough resources and understanding and wherewithal to say, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm struggling with these high notes. How can I get from struggling with the high notes to singing free and easy? Maybe it's a voice lesson. Maybe it's 4 voice lessons. Maybe it's doing some research. Maybe it's watching other people in your genre sing. Maybe it's trying some things out. Maybe it's going back to basics. Maybe you try all of it. Maybe you try all of it. And by the time you get to the next fork in the road with this situation, you'll be like, this worked for me last time. Gonna do it again. Great. Have more resources, have more tools. Great. Make the plan, make the map. Once you know where you are, then you can see where you need to go. So be honest with yourself and don't attach any blame to it. Don't attach any meaning to it. Understand this is your body we are talking about. This is your voice we are talking about. It doesn't have to be with judgment. It can simply be what it is. Next is building your personal framework. Now, I know myself. I know my vocal load. I know what I need every day. Do I always do it? No. And you know what? To have me admit that on the podcast where I'm bullying other people into doing it, I don't know what that says about me. But if we're being honest, I sing every single day. That's the truth. I sing every single day. Whether it's with students, whether it's by myself, whether it's with my band, whether it's in the studio, I'm singing every single day. And I now know, after doing that for at least 3 years in this capacity, my non negotiables are 8 hours of sleep. They are fully being nourished and hydrated. And if I don't fix my attitude, it's not going to happen. And you know what? It's humbling. It's humbling to notice that. It's humbling to say, wow, if I walk into this with all of my doom and gloom and shame and self abandonment and all of that, then it's going to be fucked up. It's not going to work. And you know what? You learn that by having it happen to you. If you go into a performance, if you go into a lesson, if you go into a studio session and are like, you know what, I am not fucking prepared for this, and I did not do everything that I possibly could have to be prepared for this, then you know what, that's exactly how it's going to go, my friend. That is exactly how it's going to go. And you know what, only you know what prepares you. But we can start with the basics. If you're dehydrated, if you're dry as hell, then yeah, your voice is not going to sound as good as it did that one day that you randomly sang after chugging 5 bottles of water and you were super hydrated in the shower singing. Yeah, that's just what it is, man. That's real. If you're exhausted, it's hard to sing when you're exhausted, and it's hard to sing if you haven't built a practice. I am blowing bubbles every day if I can, and most days I can. So I do mostly every day blow bubbles, or I vocalize and I do SOVTs that are not bubbles, just to keep things in working order, working condition. I am very threatening about my health. If you're sick, don't even think my name, because I will kill you if you get me sick. I won't kill you, but it takes a really long time for singers to recover from sickness. So those are my non-negotiables. Sleep, food. For me, it's also moving my body. Being physically active is really important to me. And I train my body like I train my voice in the gym at least 5 times a week. And that's very different from where I was in college. That's very different from how I maybe sort of trained in high school. It's very different from how I trained last year. It's all different. But you need to know what your non negotiables are. So notice how I said rest in there too. That's not every day not singing. It's resting when I have, when I'm sick, when I lose my voice, whatever it is, then yeah, unfortunately rest and I are not the greatest of friends, but it is necessary. Um, and I also know that if I have a big sing happening the next day, it behooves me to prepare at least 3 days before. Start getting 8 hours of sleep, start hydrating fully. That's on the vocal fold level and on full body hydration level. And honestly, I make the whole day about me. I have friends, I have a partner, I have family members, I have responsibilities, but on the day of the thing, girl, if you think we're having that talk today, if you think we're confronting your demons today, if you think I'm running errands, no, I'm not. Sorry. I take it very seriously, and I don't really care if that's me being a diva. Um, I think you should be really proud of your work, and I think you should be very proud of your voice and your craft, and I think you should take it seriously. There, that's the soundbite. Now that I've talked your ear off, this podcast is titled "The Art of Showing Up for Yourself," and as much as singing is an art, I think cultivating your own self-esteem, cultivating your practice, cultivating your somatic approach to singing is also an art form. It takes discipline, it takes devotion, it takes love and loyalty, it takes duality, it takes blood, sweat, and tears. I'm sorry, but anything worth having is not always easy to get. And I just want to remind everybody that the people we look up to have the same set of tools that we do. They have vocal folds, they have a vocal tract, they have lungs, they have lips and eyes and mouth and teeth and all that jazz. And so do we. So You know, maybe you're at a different point in your journey and you're comparing your act 1 to somebody else's act 4, and that's not a fair comparison. And in fact, most comparisons aren't fair. The only comparison you need to be making is between you and your past self. If you're looking back at the you even a month ago and you're like, wow, that person was not really interested in practicing, they had a bad attitude, and they felt like the world was against them. But since 1 month ago to now, I have been very mindful about my approach. I have been singing every day. Maybe I've missed a couple days, but I've been singing every day. And you know what I discovered? My voice sounds a little bit more like Miley Cyrus than Lady Gaga. That's a huge discovery because those are very different sounds. And maybe you've signed up for voice lessons, or maybe you took a master class. Whatever it is, everything moves the needle one way or the other. Everything moves the needle one way or another. You need to look at the slope of your life, not just the present snapshot. Because most people are on an upward trajectory, and it's a compilation of all of their choices, all of their decisions, all of the times that they said, I will do this instead of I'm too tired, or I am going to spend my last bit of money on this thing that I really want to learn instead of, you know what, I need to save it. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but I'm a dreamer too, man. I am a dreamer. I am a diehard. I am a grip it and don't let it go. I'm loyal. I'm passionate. I'm devoted. That's how I got in front of this freaking camera the night before Thanksgiving, because you know what? I give a fuck. I really do. I really give a fuck, and I really want everyone else to as well. And you know what? It's not that hard to care about yourself. It feels selfish. It feels weird to dedicate, an hour a day to something that is maybe not making you money, maybe not connecting with other people. But, if we're really thinking about embodying this in a lifelong pursuit, no matter what situation you're in, you got to put your own life jacket on before you put someone else's on. And you have something beautiful to share. You do. I know you do. I don't even know who I'm talking to, but you do. You do. And I know it's in you because it's in me. I know that you have the capacity because I have the capacity. I know that I have the capacity because I've seen the people I look up to give these breathtaking performances and post their journey from point A to point B. I know it's there. I know it's there, and I'm delusional about it, but I really just don't even see it as delusion anymore. So, the art of showing up for yourself. You have to do it. You have to show up for yourself. You have to take the time. You have to spend the money. You have to put the energy in order to get to where you want to go. And you know what? If you're up at night thinking about your vision, if you're like, you know what? I don't belong doing this 9 to 5. I don't belong, only singing in the shower. I belong on the freaking stage. Decide, man. The difference is one decision. That's all it is. It's one decision. So if you take anything away from this, it's that I believe in you. And if that's enough for you to get started on whatever it is you need to get started on, that you're procrastinating on, that you're making excuses for, then roll with it. Roll with it. Start your routine. Habit stack one thing at a time. That's all it takes. I'm constantly inspired by the people who I'm surrounded by. I am constantly grateful for all of the insight that I get, all of the people I learn from, all of my mentors, all of the people that I get to teach. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. And I can't stress this enough. If you're a singer, you're a lifelong learner. And the goalpost just moves and moves and moves and moves. But if your needle is chasing the, this is a weird analogy, if your needle that you need to move to get to the next spot is chasing the goalpost, then wow, what a wild ride. What a wild, wild ride. I gotta say, all of the things that have come to light in this last month for me, the Keeping Score release, if you follow Ives, you know that I just released a single called Keeping Score. We have this awesome music video. It premiered on a big screen at a film festival in Spokane. You know, that song is doing way more numbers than any of the other songs I've released. It's the little things, it's the delayed gratification. It's the little voice that tells you to keep hanging on. That's the one that stamps out the you should quit voice. Because you know what? You can't see where you're going in the present moment. All you can do is be present and use this moment to its max capacity. That's all you can do. And you know what? It's breathtaking. So, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Rockbox Pod, the Ethics of Singerhood, the art of showing up for yourself. So, I don't know why I said so. I'll see you on next month's podcast. Make sure to check out the offerings on the Rockfox Studio website. That's www.rockfoxstudio.com. I am promoting a 4-pack of lessons for the holidays. It's perfect for someone who's just getting started. It's perfect for somebody who maybe just has a couple things they need help with. In 4 lessons, I promise if you show up and you do the work day after day, you commit to yourself and your non-negotiables, you will see a difference. 4 weeks of consistent lessons, 4 weeks of consistent practice, 4 weeks of consistently showing up for yourself. Guess what? You're going to have a habit that you can't break after that. So consider it. It's on sale with the code HOLIDAYVOX, and you can sign up for my newsletter. You can follow me on Instagram at Rockfox Studio. And I'm just excited, man. I'm just juiced. I'm just juiced to be here. So happy holidays. Happy singing. I love you. I believe in you. I'm not afraid. I was born for this. And so were you. Okay. I'll see you next time. Bye.